Japan's history is a rich and complex journey spanning thousands of years. From ancient times to the present day, each period has contributed to the country's unique identity and culture. Let's start with prehistoric Japan. The Jomon period, beginning around 14,000 BCE, marks the dawn of Japanese civilization. The Jomon people were hunter-gatherers who lived in harmony with nature, developing one of the oldest known pottery traditions in the world. Their pottery, decorated with intricate chord patterns, reflects a deep connection to their environment. These early people lived in simple pit dwellings, relying on the bounty of the forests, rivers, and sea. As time progressed, Japan entered the Yayoi period around 300 BCE. This era brought significant changes. The Yayoi people introduced rice agriculture, which became the backbone of Japanese society. With rice farming came the need for settled communities, leading to the development of villages and the rise of a more stratified society. Metalworking also advanced during this time, with bronze and iron tools and weapons making their appearance. This period laid the foundations for the complex social and political structures that would define Japan in the centuries to come. Classical Japan began with the Kofun period, around 250 CE. This era is named after the large burial mounds, or kofun, built for the ruling elite. These massive tombs, some shaped like keyholes, symbolize the emergence of powerful clans who controlled vast territories. Among these clans, the Yamato clan began to dominate, establishing the foundations of a centralized government that would evolve over time. The Asuka period, from 538 to 710 CE, marked a pivotal moment in Japanese history with the introduction of Buddhism. This new religion, brought from Korea, profoundly influenced Japanese culture, politics, and society. Prince Shotoku, a key figure during this time, was instrumental in promoting Buddhism and establishing a government based on Chinese models. The Asuka period also saw the beginning of Japan's diplomatic relations with neighboring countries, as the Japanese court sought to learn from the advanced cultures of China and Korea. The Nara period, from 710 to 794 CE, is named after Japan's first permanent capital, Nara. Modeled after the Chinese capital of Chang'an, Nara became the political and cultural heart of Japan. During this time, the Japanese state consolidated its power, codifying laws and establishing a bureaucratic system that would endure for centuries. Buddhism flourished, with the construction of grand temples like Todaiji, home to the great Buddha statue, symbolizing the fusion of religion and state power. The Heian period, lasting from 794 to 1185, is often considered the golden age of classical Japanese culture. The capital moved to Heian-kyo, modern-day Kyoto, where the imperial court became the center of a refined and sophisticated aristocratic culture. This period is celebrated for its literature, particularly The Tale of Genji by Murasaki Shikibu, a work often hailed as the world's first novel. The Heian period also saw the development of waka poetry, the refinement of courtly aesthetics, and the creation of a distinctly Japanese art style. However, as the power of the imperial court waned, the influence of the military class, or samurai, began to rise, setting the stage for the next era of Japanese history. The feudal era of Japan began with the Kamakura period, from 1185 to 1333. The Kamakura shogunate, established by Minamoto no Yoritomo, marked the start of Japan's feudal age. The samurai class became the dominant force in Japanese politics and society, with a strict code of honor and loyalty. This period also saw the growth of Buddhism, particularly Zen Buddhism, which resonated with the warrior ethos of the samurai. The Mongol invasions of Japan in 1274 and 1281 were significant events during this time. Although the Mongols were repelled, thanks in part to the kamikaze or divine wind, these invasions highlighted the growing external threats to Japan. Following the Kamakura period was the Muromachi period, also known as the Ashikaga period, which lasted from 1336 to 1573. The Ashikaga shogunate, based in Kyoto, struggled to maintain control over the increasingly powerful regional warlords known as daimyos. The Onin War from 1467 to 1477 marked the beginning of the Sengoku period, a time of intense social upheaval, political intrigue, and near-constant military conflict. During this chaotic time, Japan was fragmented into numerous warring states, each ruled by a daimyo. Despite the turmoil, the period saw significant cultural developments, including the flourishing of tea culture, ink painting, and the No theatre. The Sengoku period from 1467 to 1603 is also known as the Warring States period. It was a time of relentless civil war and political instability as powerful daimyos vied for control of Japan. Amid the chaos, three extraordinary leaders emerged to unify the country. Oda Nobunaga, a brilliant and ruthless strategist, began the process of unification by defeating rival daimyos and consolidating power. His successor, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, continued this work, eventually bringing most of Japan under his control. Hideyoshi also launched ambitious invasions of Korea in the 1590s, which, while ultimately unsuccessful, demonstrated Japan's growing military might. Finally, Tokugawa Ieyasu, a cunning and patient leader, completed the unification of Japan, establishing the Tokugawa shogunate in 1603. The early modern era began with the Azuchi Momoyama period, from 1573 to 1603, a brief but significant time named after the castles of Nobunaga, Azuchi, and Hideyoshi, Momoyama. This period saw the consolidation of power and the establishment of a centralized government, setting the stage for the long-lasting Tokugawa shogunate. The Edo period, also known as the Tokugawa period, spanned from 1603 to 1868. Under Tokugawa Ieyasu and his successors, Japan enjoyed a prolonged period of peace, stability, and isolation. The shogunate established strict controls over the daimyos and implemented a policy of national seclusion, or sakoku, limiting foreign influence and trade. Despite this isolation, Japan developed a vibrant urban culture, particularly in Edo, modern-day Tokyo. The merchant class thrived, and cultural pursuits such as ukiyo-e woodblock prints, kabuki theater, and haiku poetry flourished. The Edo period also saw the development of a rigid social hierarchy, with the samurai, peasants, artisans, and merchants each occupying a specific place in society. Modern Japan began with the Meiji Restoration in 1868, a period of rapid and transformative change. The restoration of imperial rule under Emperor Meiji marked the end of the Tokugawa shogunate and the samurai class. Japan embarked on a program of modernization, adopting Western technologies, education systems, and military practices. The Meiji government also sought to build a modern economy, industrializing rapidly and establishing a constitutional government. Japan's newfound strength was demonstrated in its victories in the Sino-Japanese War, 1894-1895, and the Russo-Japanese War, 1904-1905, which marked the country's emergence as a major world power. The Taisho period, from 1912 to 1926, continued Japan's modernization, but was marked by increasing political instability. The period saw the rise of democratic movements and the influence of Western culture, as well as economic difficulties and social unrest. Despite these challenges, Japan continued to expand its empire, setting the stage for the turbulent Showa period. The Showa period, from 1926 to 1989, was one of the most tumultuous in Japanese history. It began with Japan's militarization and imperial expansion, leading to its involvement in World War II. Japan's defeat in the war and the devastation of Hiroshima and Nagasaki by atomic bombs in 1945 brought the Showa era to a turning point. After the war, Japan was occupied by Allied forces, led by the United States, and underwent significant political, economic, and social reforms. The post-war era saw Japan transform into a peaceful, democratic nation, and by the 1980s, Japan had become one of the world's leading economies, known for its technological innovation and cultural influence. The contemporary era began with the Heisei period from 1989 to 2019. This era started with the bursting of Japan's economic bubble, leading to a prolonged period of economic stagnation known as the Lost Decade. Despite these economic challenges, Japan remained a global technological and cultural powerhouse. The period also saw significant natural disasters, such as the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami, which led to the Fukushima nuclear disaster, highlighting the ongoing challenges Japan faces. Today, Japan is in the Reiwa period, which began in 2019 with the abdication of Emperor Akihito and the ascension of Emperor Naruhito. Japan continues to navigate a complex future, facing challenges such as an aging population, economic uncertainty, and regional security issues. Yet the country remains a major player on the global stage, known for its innovation, culture, and resilience. Japan's history is a story of resilience, adaptation, and cultural brilliance, a journey that continues to inspire the world.